All right, with everything completely covered up here, we're going to start by putting our shear strip on. Now, I think I told you throughout this process, I'm going to show you how to do it with staples, how to do it without staples, how to use steam, how to use heat, all kinds of tricks that you can use. Most people, the vast majority of people, are just going to fight their way through with a staple gun, and they're going to pop them all in and be very, very happy. Some of you have got a lot of time, or a lot more time, and you're going to want to spend time and do it without staples because the little holes are going to bother you. And I'm going to show you both of those ways. No matter how you start, we always staple our shear strip to the shear clamp. Mostly because half of it's going to go away anyway once we flip the boat. Once we flip the boat, we're going to need to plane most of it down anyway, so it'll pretty much disappear. Okay, so now when we get down to here, we need to put a little bit of glue on the end. So this is your last chance to check to make sure that it's lying flat. And I am lying perfectly flat here. So I'm going to take a little dab of glue. Now this is just yellow carpenter's glue. Specifically, for me, it's Tight Bond. Tight Bond 2 or Tight Bond 3 will be fine. Don't use Tight Bond 1. Yeah. Okay, so for the rest of this, I am basically putting the strip flat and even with the shear clamp. I got 3/4 inch strip, I got 3/4 inch shear clamp. I'm just making it flat and even all the way down. This gives me a decent landing spot for what I need to do. If it's floppy in between, go ahead and zip it down with a staple. Everything comes off of this first strip, so it has to be absolutely perfect. Okay, so on the first strip, if you were paying very close attention, you would have seen that the bead, or the rounded over part, was up. And that's because over the years, and I know there are people out there that'll tell me that I'm crazy on this, but after doing 100 or so of these things, I have found it far easier basically to start with the bead up so that I got a jig here on the side of my bench. This particular one goes down 20 feet for some of the longer boats. But essentially it's just blocks with a notch in it that I lay the strip in, and then I just take some glue and I run right along the strip, putting a nice even bead all the way down. That's simple. I just grab the strip and bring it over to the boat. Alright, so pretty much aligning it close. So we're starting in the middle. Now you got to be careful in the first couple. Make sure you support the strip underneath. Squeeze them together. Put in a staple. And just move your way down. Make sure you put a ample amount of glue here in the stems. Squeeze them nice and tight. Staple it down. Now it's really kind of important as you go along here to clean up the yellow glue as much as you can, both on the inside and the outside, which will make sanding just a ton easier later. What I have here is some people call it Japanese back saw, some people call it a pull saw. Very fine tooth, works on the pull, and I'm going to use that to cut off the edges. And you're going to want to cut these off fairly regularly because a couple of reasons. I can't do the other side with that sticking out because it'll be in the way. Second, you don't want to walk around the boat and snag it and break it off. So better you should just keep on top of it and keep sawing it off. All right, promise you all the tricks I got, so here's the first one. You can see as I squeeze this, in between the forms, right here, I got a space where it's just a little bit loose. And you can see the glue oozing out a little bit there. All right, so what I'm gonna do is take my hot glue gun. Now this, pay attention. This glue is not Carpenter's hot glue. This is regular crafter's glue. If you use Carpenter's hot glue, you're going to be very disappointed with the results because when you go to take it off, it's just going to rip the wood apart. Regular crafter's glue. Get light duty. Whatever you see the package, light duty. You're not looking for the heavy duty stuff. All right, so I'm going to take a little block here. I'm going to put a little dab, just a little dab. Squeeze them together, and then put the block on. I'm going to hold this for about 30 seconds, and then it'll hold it for me. It's kind of like having a staple that's not a staple. Now, when we go to take these off, there's a couple of ways to take them off. If you're very, very careful, you could take a chisel off half more again, and then just peel it up. But what I found that's easier is if you take a heat gun, which we will be taking later on, I'll show you this, heat it up a little bit, and then just pull them right off. All right, and then you're going to have some chisels around so you can get the old glue off, because you cannot put fiberglass on the boat if there's any residue of the old glue on there. All right, so it's been probably just about enough time. I can let go, and that holds just fine, right? So I went pretty quick on these first 6 strips. It probably took all of about a half hour. The next, I'm going to say 20 strips are going to be just as simple as these. I don't want to show you putting every strip on the boat because we'll be here on video for the next, quite a bit of time, maybe 12 hours or so. So I'm going to go ahead and strip up to where it starts to get interesting again, and then I'll start to show you what's going on there. But in the meantime, I'm going to do probably about 10 more strips on either side, and then it's going to start to get real tight around those ends, and that's when we're going to start showing you what we're doing again. All right, so you can see I put some clamps on down here, and again, that's because of the pressure's trying to pull it up off of that shear clamp. Just throw some spring clamps on, it'll be fine. Matter of fact, at this point, you probably just want to walk away, because if you do, this will be dry in about 4 hours or so, and once it all dries into shape, that's it. It's not going to move anywhere. That glue gets really hard. Never, ever, ever, ever walk away from the boat without checking all the strips that you just put in, making sure all the beading coves are together. Because if they're not together and it's askew one way or the other and that glue dries, It's just such a big pain in the neck, right? So never walk away from the boat. Final thing you do is wipe it all down, get rid of all the excess glue, and make sure every bead is inside of every cove. All right.